Hi everyone, my name is Hariharan Kannan,
And I'm Abigail Fisk.
and we're part of the 2023 Beckman Scholars class here at The Ohio State University. Today we're joined by Dr. Samantha King. And Dr. King, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Sam King. I was in the Beckman program back when I was an undergrad. And to date myself, I joined in 2011. I did chemistry and microbiology in undergrad, stayed at med school at Ohio State, and then ended up pursuing a residency in emergency medicine at the University of Maryland, did an ultrasound fellowship, worked for a year, and then applied and got into the University of Texas Medical Branch Aerospace Medicine residency. So yes, I'm back as a resident. Which is maybe a little more meaningful if you're in medicine to understand that kind of transition back. But I currently am a first-year resident in a 2-year program.
How much do you think the Scholars Program has influenced that? And now that you're an aerospace medicine physician, how much do you think the Beckman Scholars Program has played a role for you in making that decision?
Yeah, so when I actually entered undergrad, I was not a pre-med. I'm one of those weird ones. So I didn't know what I wanted to do when I entered undergrad. And so the Beckman program was really, as I mentioned, my first foray into research and my first kind of opportunity to really kind of see what that career field would look like in terms of if going and being, a benchside researcher was what I wanted to do. I think that the experience I got through the Beckman program, both in teaching me how to do research, in having the opportunity, and I'll keep repeating this, of being able to fail and to fail safely, and learn from your mistakes and learn how to push forward, are features that then played important roles in the rest of my career. I went on eventually to pursue a career in medicine, but having that background and seeing that side of medicine and that side of research, I think, made me understand the individuals who then taught me in medical school, who were researchers, and how they took what they had learned and applied it again to the bedside.
Can you talk a little bit more about the research that you performed during your time as a Beckman Scholar?
So when I was a Beckman Scholar, I was doing research with the Parquet Lab at Ohio State in the Department of Chemistry. I was working on a program trying to develop self-assembling amphiphiles for targeted drug delivery, which essentially means that I was making nanotubes out of molecules that were hydrophobic and hydrophilic at the same time to hopefully try and minimize side effects by giving drugs a target to go to while keeping the drug at the time kind of safe from the rest of the body.
Did you have any failures or successes that you could speak to and kind of how that influenced your career trajectory as a scientist?
There were definitely many failures kind of on the way to successes. When you're trying to do, synthetic organic chemistry, there are a lot of times where it doesn't work. I think the biggest success was the first time where I was able to take the compound that I'd made and see it under a microscope and see like the actual nanotube having been created. And that was pretty amazing to see something that I'd spent months working on, having failed multiple times to then become a success.
Reflecting on your time as a Beckman Scholar, how beneficial would you say the Beckman Scholars Program has been for your time as an undergrad as well as now as a practicing physician?
Yeah, as I had mentioned, it was really my first foray into research. It was really my first avenue into exploring something where you don't know if it's going to work. And you hope and, you base it on theory. But as I mentioned before, you fail a lot. And those failures are important. But it really got my interest into kind of how to answer the next question, and kind of pushing forward and to keep pushing the field forward, either in your own research or in other folks' research. And then as part of the program, I also got to present my research. And this was kind of the first time in my career I had the opportunity to make a poster, to make a presentation, and to really not just explain my research to people who knew my research, but explain my research to people who had no idea what I was talking about. Being able to take that detailed knowledge and break it down in a way that is translatable, I think is an important and a very difficult skill that definitely took me time to learn. As a part of this program was definitely beneficial. I think the Beckman program also allowed me to really go to like my first conference, as they host everyone, or at least they did at the time, out in California. And so this was the first time I'd gotten to go to a conference and meet people, not just like from my immediate surroundings, but interact with people from other institutions with other backgrounds, some doing research similar to mine and some doing completely off the wall research that is also inspiring in its own.
Could you talk a little bit about your current work now, and what is unique to aerospace medicine?
I currently am a first-year resident in a 2-year program at University of Texas Medical Branch, as I mentioned, training in aerospace medicine. Aerospace medicine falls within the kind of sub-branch of preventive medicine within kind of the field. So it's the folks and the physicians who take care of pilots, for instance, who take care of people who, are flight controllers, who take care of people kind of within that occupational environment, knowing that that environment is different than you and I being on the ground.
Are there challenges that you have faced throughout your career, and what have you learned from them?
Research within the clinical environment is a balance. I am still actively a practicing clinician. And so trying to, balance, what I would want to do for a patient versus following the scientific process is always a challenge. And you kind of have to put yourself in like 2 different hats and 2 different boats.
Why should other students at Ohio State or at other institutions consider applying for the Beckman Scholars Program?
The Beckman Scholars Program was definitely a foundational part of my scientific and professional journey. And I think that being a part of the program allows you to push those boundaries to experience things that maybe you didn't have the opportunity to experience before, and to really give you the chance to push yourself, and to push yourself to be better, to push yourself to be, ingenious and to think of new ways to do things. And it allows you to kind of take that first step and then to explore the rest of the field, to meet other people, to have exposures to things you may not otherwise get exposure to.